What is up, YouTubeverse? In today's video, I'm going to be giving my 2 pence on animes that are out now and you should be watching. I get asked a lot, what anime am I watching? Or I just finished watching this, what can I watch? So I thought I'd put it all into one video. Although this has been a week late to put together, the references are off by about 1 episode. But hey, so without further ado, away we go. Monday anime, starting with Fantasy Star Online 2 Oracle episodes. So this is a prequel to PSO 2, the animation. It's based around the game. So right now there are 9 English subtitled episodes and none with an English dub at the moment. I can't really rate this show as I've only watched a couple of episodes. But what I can tell you, there are some strong violence. It's one of those sci-fi fantasy kind of anime, so if you're into those, then you'll probably be into them. I don't remember playing the game, so I think it's heavily based around the game. I'm not sure if it'll bring in new people or it's one of those just for nostalgic reasons, but if you are into that genre, then I think you should give it a go. I will probably circle back round to it, but with loads of other things to watch, I will be keeping my eye on it. The next Monday anime is, I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce the Japanese name. The English name is Didn't I Say to Make My Abilities Average in the Next Life? It's one of those Isekai animes, which basically means the main character was transported from Earth or a planet like Earth into a new world that's more fantasy settings or gaming, depending on what the scenario is. With the Isekai genre, I feel like there's just too much of them. When I hear about a new one, I'm like, oh, not another one. But when I think I'm out, then they suck me back in. In this settings, we have a normal Japanese girl who dies and ends up transported into another world, which has fantasy, magic, all that kind of stuff. But while she's being transported there, she meets like an angel or god, and she tells them she doesn't want to be the typical isekai where she's gonna be overpowered. She wants an absolutely average normal life, so make her abilities average. And he takes this to mean, okay, I'm gonna tally up every single person in the world and I'm gonna give you the average ability of all of them, which still makes her superly overpowered. It's a fun and entertaining anime for Monday with some very questionable characters, and to be honest, it's the questionable characters that get me. It has some pretty dark themes for the comedy, fantasy kind of tone it sets. It has some strong violence in terms of the fighting and the deaths. It has some seriously strong sexual undertones, so I think maybe a mature audience is needed. It's based on a light novel and there's also a manga for it, but I haven't read either one. It's kind of hard to get the light novels and have them translated. And right now the anime is doing it for me, so I haven't really found a reason to go explore the manga yet. It reminds me a lot of Konosuba, and if you haven't seen Konosuba, honestly, I don't know what you're doing with your life. It's one of my top 10, probably top 5 anime of all time. It's just so funny, similar circumstances, another isekai, and it feels like this show is like the female version of Konosuba, only Konosuba is predominantly a female cast with just the main character being male. But I don't know, for me, they feel very similar. The only anime I watch on Tuesdays is Black Clover. The premise of the show is the main character has a dream to become Hokage, the Wizard King, and it's a fantasy world set with wizards. No doubt it's very similar to Naruto, but instead of ninjutsu, we're using magic. Naruto is another top 10 anime. You should check it out if you haven't done so already. Please use a filler guide. You will thank me later. You're welcome. It's a typical Shounen Jump with powers and main character has a dream and is tangled with his goals. It's not the best of animes, but it is something for the Tuesdays. If you like Naruto and those other Shounen Jump types of anime, then at least give it a try and see what you think. A lot of complaints are being about the voice acting and the character being too yelly, which I do think is what the character's based on in the manga, but as you can see, the anime is based off of the manga, which I haven't read. I have no reason to read, but I feel like if I read it, I could see the discrepancies and probably like the manga more. I have no reason to read it at this moment in time. It has some mild violence with the deaths and fighting with magic. It has mild sexual references with a slew of perverted characters who make those sexual jokes. I remember having an occasional swear word. That really depends if you feel like calling out another person for their parents not being married when they conceived them as a swear word. It's an anime I think you should at least give a try. Wednesday is a good day. Let's start off by talking about 7 deadly sins. So the premise is there's a world where there's wars with angel, demons and humans. Set in the King Arthur type era with knights and magic powers and all that sort of stuff. There's 7 protectors of the realm known as the 7 deadly sins. It's a really good anime. I think you should watch it if you haven't already done so. We are currently on season 3. Unfortunately, I haven't finished season 2, so I'm gonna do that and then probably put 7 Deadly Sins back into the mix when I can. It has extreme violence and very strong sexual references thanks to our main character, Meliodas, who is just a super pervert. Currently, there are 9 subbed episodes and unfortunately, season 3 has not been dubbed as of yet. Also on Wednesdays is Radiant 2. This is season 2 of the anime Radiant. The premise is a boy named Naruto wants to become the Hokage. Oh no, sorry, I mean Asta wants to become the Wizard King. Oh no, sorry. I don't even know the main character's name. But it's very similar. There's a world with magic and he wants to become the very best that no one ever was. So you have the Nemesis, who are these evil beings full of magic. They come down and they hunt humans, and the only people who can fight against them are the wizards. I mean the sorcerers, who have all the magical powers, but once they entangle themselves with the Nemesis, they get some of their bad juju and everyone hates them. Oh, also the main character is an orphan. As you would expect, it's your typical Shounen Jump type of anime. I haven't watched a lot of episodes of it. I think I watched a couple of episodes. I went with Black Clover, but I'm probably gonna circle back around and try to check it out. If you do watch it, let me know what you think. One of my highlights for Wednesday night is Chemo no Michi Rise Up. Another Isekai anime, but this time we have a wrestler transported to another world where there are beast people and there are humans, and he's thrown into the mix. I really like this anime because he gets me as an animal lover. I'm more into birds. My favorite is a peregrine falcon. I just really hate weird looking birds like those orange beak penguins and ostriches, but I digress. So he's transported in this new world. Looks like a real weird pervert who's just running around in his underwear, but that's his wrestling costume. I wouldn't call it a wrestling anime, it's just an anime with wrestling moves in it. If you're into that sort of stuff, if you're really into girls getting suplexed and other wrestling moves, then you will like this anime, especially if you're into seeing their panties. So yes, there are sexual references. Okay, there are strong sexual references here. Mild violence, just the fighting and nothing too crazy. The orcs in this look very similar to My Life Reincarnated as a Slime, which is another Isekai anime. I really enjoyed it when it came out. I'm waiting for season 2 to come out as well. Another Isekai anime for Wednesday is Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but cautious. The title just basically gives away the premise. He's in a video game type world and overcautious, and I completely relate. If you ever played a video game, and you can watch me play different types of video games on my Twitch, link is down in the description, but I digress. If you ever played a video game, then you would understand. I recently played the new Pokemon, and I kid you not, I got up to level 30 before I took on the first gym boss, and all these Pokemon were level 14. Nothing must go wrong in the game, especially in games like Final Fantasy. You farm for the best weapons, you train your whole team up, everyone's the same level, overpowered for the area for a long while before you continue with the storyline. And this is just basically that, only to a very extreme. It's based on a light novel and it has a manga, but I've never read either of them. And this anime just has boobs everywhere. I think that's how they got me sucked in. There are some extremely strong sexual references in this, and some extreme violence. Ascendance of a Bookworm. Initially I was against this anime. I was like, what? A librarian anime? I don't want to watch that. But then I circled back round to it. I was very wrong. The premise for this anime is that she dies in her world and she wants to come back in a world where there's loads of books that she can still read, For whatever reason, they decided that they will put her in a world where books are not common. She's reincarnated into a new body, into a 5-year-old. She switches places with her, but she's dying from a disease that no one really knows what it's about. She's just very frail, and there are books in the world, but they all belong to like the really rich people. No one reads books because they're so valuable. And so her plan is that she's going to make first paper and then books, and then make a bookstore. Now ask me what I know about making books. I ain't dumb. I know paper comes from wood, but that's all I know of the process. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very fun, clean anime, no violence, no sexual references, just good, clean fun. It's very informative if you're going into a new world and taking skills and making stuff that you don't really think about in this world, and you take it into a new world, and then it becomes the new rage and the new thing. So it really makes me want to learn skills. On to Thursday's animes. First one is High School Prodigies Have It Easy Even in Another World. Yep, you guessed it, another isekai. I actually like the premise of this anime. Usually you have average people becoming overpowered, but what if you have overpowered people in this world going to another world and becoming overpowered? So the premise is that you have 7 high school students who are the best of the best in their field. You have one who's a politician, you have one's an inventor, one's a magician, one's a samurai, one's a doctor, one's a, did I say journalist? And one's a businessman. And so their plane crashed, they don't die, their plane ends up crashing, and their new world where you have the humans who are oppressing the beast people, and they're on the beast people's side. It's based on a light novel which I haven't read, but I thought it was a really nice anime at first. It started off, the tone was very upbeat even with the introduction, and it seemed like it'd be a family-friendly anime, but it gets so dark. The themes are really dark. It has extreme violence, where people are getting gruesomely murdered, people's hands are being cut off. It has extreme sexual references and sexual violence, which is... this is probably like 16, 18. I don't know why they did it with teens. It kind of throws you off, but it's very adult-orientated. Assassin's Pride. This anime is set in a fantasy land with magic in the form of mana. In this world, the high class people are able to wield this mana and defeat the bad guys, which are the lycanthropes. To me, normally lycanthropes are werewolves, but in this they are like non-human mana monsters. So in this school, everyone gets to try on the sorting hat, but secretly you want to be in Gryffindor. I joke, but this does remind me a lot of Harry Potter and the sorting hat. You're placed in a class depending on your mana. The main character Melida wants to be in the Paladin class, and Kufa is the assassin / teacher that's sent to test her or to kill her. It's super confusing, but it turns out she doesn't have any mana. She was supposed to die, but Kufa takes pity on her and decides he's gonna make her his student and shares his mana with her. Then she kind of gains his class mana, but it's also implied she has some latent locked away abilities. The anime is based on a light novel which I haven't read. It has strong violence and mild sexual references. Oh, Friday's a big day. You have 2 top 10s right here. Let's start with Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone is an anime about a genius kid called Senku with his not so genius friend Taiju. The world faces an apocalyptic end where some green light turns everyone into stone. It's not really explained why everyone's become stone or how, but just know everyone's turned into stone. Senku's one of the first people who breaks out, and then he creates a formula able to take everyone else out the zone. He does his best friend first, and then a few other people. Then he sort of clashes with the other people, and then factions are made. You have the science group who wants to restore humanity and everyone in it, and you have the others who don't. They want to keep the status quo. They want to keep all the young people and get rid of all the old people who destroyed the world. I like this anime. The premise is very different, and I wish I had it growing up because of the science background. I don't know if it's 100% true. I feel like they do jump some things and make some connections that aren't there. But having this anime growing up, I would have been much more into science as a kid, especially the fact, you know, I need to learn everything there is to know about civilization in case one day I'm faced in the same scenario and I have to save the world and rebuild it in my image. The anime is based on the manga, which I have not read, but I think I'll probably try to read it after this season's done. I'm very sad we're so close to the end of this anime and I really don't want it to end. Shokugeki no Soma, that is a name I can pronounce. Food Wars in English. Honestly, I think it's probably one of my top 5 animes. At first, I thought it was really dumb to have a cooking anime. I was super bored, so I watched it and I'm glad I did because it became one of my favorite animes. Just the way they talk like having a foodgasm and turn it into an actual thing. It's like the most funniest part of the anime. I'm like very aware when I'm watching this anime. I have to look behind me and make sure no one else is like looking over my shoulder so they don't get the wrong idea of what I'm watching. But at the same time, I'm a fat kid. I love food. Everything they cook looks so delicious. And not only that, it makes me feel like I can cook. Like I can go into the kitchen and just like pull out recipes out of thin air and mix 2 random ingredients together and get that umai, get that blend and balance together, and people will enjoy my food. They'd be like, yes, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. But in reality, I would probably just give them diarrhea or food poisoning. Food Wars is based on the manga. I've read a couple of pages, but I'm not super deep into the manga. I'd rather watch the anime. Saturday animes, another one I can pronounce, Boku no Hero Academia. My Hero Academia 4th season finally with us. If you're not watching My Hero, I honestly don't know what you're doing with your life. It's simply too good. So the premise of My Hero is you're in a world where people are born with superpowers called quirks. It's a Shounen Jump main character, you know, goals and all that good stuff. But it's so well put together and the timing is right with all the superhero TV shows, all the superhero movies we have right now. And then we have our superhero manga. And we have Midoriya is our main character. He's born quirkless. He looks up to the top hero, All Might, and he wants to desperately become a hero. And he actually finds a way to achieve this with the help of All Might. They got it right. They're releasing the English and the Japanese at the same time. My Hero Academia is based on the manga. I haven't read the manga. I'm trying not to read the manga, but it's very hard, especially when the anime ends. I really want to read ahead, but I feel like I would eventually give into it, but for now I'm staying strong and not reading manga. My Hero Academia has some moderate violence and some mild sexual references. You know, there are a few perverts in there. Sword Art Online. What can I say? Sword Art Online is another isekai. It's probably one of the first where they're transported into a new world, into a game world. First season, they were transported into a game world and they got stuck in that world. They couldn't log out. And if you died in the game, you died in real life. Honestly, I really love season 1. It was one of my favorite animes at the time. Even while I was playing MMORPGs, every time I would pick someone who could dual wield or assassin class, someone who fit like the Kirito kind of character. I didn't like season 2 much or season 3. It kind of fell off for me, but I still watched them. I didn't enjoy them as much, and then season 4's come in and it's kind of brought it all back. Sword Art Online has really extreme violence and really extreme sexual references. You wouldn't think it, especially like season 1, but after season 2 it goes very dark. Sword Art Online is based on a manga. I have not read it. I think there's a light novel. It's either a manga or a light novel. I should check that out, but I haven't read either. Last but certainly not least, we have One Piece. One Piece is an anime that's based on pirates. So pirates having powers in a fantasy world. So they have these things called a devil fruit, and you eat the devil fruit, you gain a specific power to that fruit. I don't think any 2 people can have the same power, but you can have similar powers but no exact same powers. You lose the ability to swim, you immediately sink if you're in the sea, but you gain this tremendous power, and that's the sacrifice you make. all the pirates are on this hunt to find this actual item called the One Piece. I don't know, it allows you to rule the world. It's your typical Shounen Jump. We have Luffy, our main character. He's gonna become the pirate king, and he's kind of an interesting character. I like Luffy as a character. He has his whole crew and he amasses more and more people as it goes on. It's a very fun anime. Only downside is we are at 912 episodes. Yes, you heard that right. 912 episodes in. So it's kind of hard for people to catch up. And I know people have said, I think I told my wife to watch One Piece and she was like, no. Someone at work told her, it gets good once you're 300 episode in. I don't think that's true. I think it takes a while. Not 300 episodes to build up, but it takes a while to build up. But it's a really good anime, hence why it's been going on for so long and it's still popular. It hasn't lost its popularity. One Piece is based on the manga. I have a love-hate relationship with the anime. If the anime does this dirty thing where it stretches out the episodes, sometimes I watch an episode and I feel like nothing's happened. Sometimes it's like 5 episodes, nothing still happens. At that point, I will switch onto the manga, read it up to whatever's published last, and then take a break from the whole series and then come back to the anime when it catches up, or continue reading the manga, which of the two I feel like. It has moderate violence, there's deaths in it, spoiler alert. It has some mild sexual references. It has so many perverted characters that you are bound to have sexual jokes and stuff like that, but to be honest, it's nothing more than what Disney would do. Maybe a bit more.